I'd like to call this regular city council meeting of May 26, 2015 to order. We would like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call shows all department heads are here, and Councilwoman Bev Dixon is absent. She had requested that she be given time off.
I'll move to excuse Bev.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. We do not have bills. Approve the agenda. Any additions or deletions?
Are you going to
How about
approve
the
the minutes?
Oh, okay, you want to do that? All right.
Page 3,
3?
let's see. It's about a third of the way down, right in the middle of the T. It says business, and that should have been building. And then on page 8, the motion for the city manager evaluation, I voted no on that, and it says unanimous.
Anybody else?
I moved the minutes, or the, the minutes.
I'll support.
Nobody can spit it out. Yeah. All right, any support and any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And now let's take a look at the agenda.
I don't have any additions at this time.
I'll move the agenda as presented. I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Public comment. This time, anybody wishes to speak on any item not listed on the agenda? Seeing no groundswell, we'll move on to old business. Second reading of the ordinance to repeal 82-78 for sidewalks to be cleared of snow and ice, to clarify and provide that the violation of Chapter 82 is a municipal infraction.
Mr. Mayor, if I may. There are no changes to this ordinance that was presented at the last meeting. This would be the second reading. This would be an ordinance amendment that would repeal 82-78 paren 4, eliminating the inconsistency internal in this ordinance and decriminalizing the failure to remove snow from the sidewalks and make it a municipal civil infraction.
I move the second reading.
Second.
Harvey seconds. Further discussion?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We can move on to new business, which we have 5 items. Consider acceptance of a donation to the fire department from Maureen and Kim Zunmeyer.
The city received a donation and a thank you letter for the fire department, so I will turn this over to Chief Kennedy.
Mayor and Council, this is a pretty straightforward, just kind of a nice thank you from a resident. It was a standard carbon monoxide call. Our crews went there and did a great job as always, and didn't really think twice about it. And then a check for $100 showed up, which was very kind of them. So part of our process, and it kind of helps reassure the homeowners, is we do leave a new detector with them, and we found that really gives them a significant peace of mind, and they were very, very appreciative of that. And so, yeah, crew did a great job as always, and just like you guys to accept the donation. So,
Has the supply of detectors been pretty stable over the years that you've been around? Like, I mean, do you purchase a block of them? And
yeah, we try to get them in bulk. So all of our rigs have both carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. So given the incident, if it's not that if it's a stable incident, we always try to check smoke detectors and all that before we leave, even if it even if the call had nothing to do with smoke detectors. So we find we do quite a few of those, and then there's also quite a few that will just get calls from less fortunate residents that need them, and this has worked out real well. Anytime we get donations or someone's looking to do a donation, we kind of put it towards this program for the CO and smoke detectors, so.
That's very cool.
I guess I have a question on your testing. When you say that you end up testing, you mean by just hitting the button, or do you actually put some smoke at it?
So for the smoke detectors?
Yeah, yeah.
So if they're over 10 years old, we'll replace them, because
Okay.
that's the standard. And then if they're newer than that, then we have 9-volt batteries that we carry with us too. So we'll just check them, and we also do have the canned smoke, so our crews will kind of do both, check the batteries and the sensor, so.
Sort of on that same line, do you guys offer training, like where the proper placement for those detectors are and things? to the
Yeah, we
public?
actually install them for the residents. We found that if we just give them the detector, we've actually gone back and the detector's still there in the box where we left it, so we've just.
I just meant if
it's-
somebody inquires, would somebody end up walking them through?
Yeah. Normally, people are real appreciative. We'll just actually install them for them, and it just makes life a lot easier. And we try to explain them where to put them, so.
Are they hardwired? You're installing the hardwired ones? or
We don't
just
install
the-
hardwire.
You're just installing the wireless?
Correct.
Battery.
Yeah, the hardwire are about triple the cost,
Yeah,
so,
that's why I was surprised, okay.
yep.
Cool.
So,
Kudos to the guys.
Do you have a question, Mike?
I'm good.
I'm
No,
up
no.
to
Oh, I
date.
saw a hand fly.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I'll make the motion then to accept the donation to the South Lyon Fire Department from Maureen and Kim Zonmeyer.
I'll second.
For discussion. We thank the fire department for their efforts on that, too.
thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now consider acceptance of the donation to the South Lyon Police Department of a prisoner bench from the Spectrum Group, courtesy of Councilman Kibble.
Again, this is a donation for the police department, so I'll turn it over to Chief Collins.
Another one of our wonderful and generous residents, on behalf of the Spectrum Group, donated a $700 prisoner bench to the police department. It's a nice metal bench that we can use in our prisoner processing area, and we just need council to formally accept that so that we can send the appropriate thank you letter to the Spectrum Group.
Oh, I'd like to make the motion that we accept.
I think you should stay out of this.
Actually, I'd considered that, whether it was appropriate or not, but I don't see any.
I don't see an issue.
I love the picture. Thanks for that.
It really,
Because I really didn't know what a prisoner bench was.
it really brings some ambiance
It
to the
really
room,
does.
doesn't
It
it?
does. It is,
Could have had
Yeah.
a color photo at least.
yeah, it could have been color, but I'm happy.
The original was in color when I emailed it over.
Oh, email that one to me.
Thanks for not wasting money on putting that in color.
I'll second, did you make? I'll second your self-motion.
Further discussion?
Yeah, just curious, Glenn, how did you come about this?
The place that I ran had to provide this for our client customs, and so when we shut down, we reacquired all these assets we had to provide to them, so, yeah, instead of just throwing it away,
Well, thank you.
yeah,
Is that what it really is for?
yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna sit in comfort now.
Well, at least secure.
Yeah.
Boy, that makes me laugh, but it does.
All right, move on to number
gotta
3.
vote on it?
Oh, sorry, whoops, you want to keep that one? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consider approval to change the date for the Blues, Brews, and Brats event. And look who we have. Please state your name, address, and who you are, just for this sake.
Andrea Meyer, 127 North Lafayette, Chamber of Commerce. So we are here to ask you to reconsider a new date for the Blues, Brews, and Brats. You had approved the August 22nd date, and that wasn't going to work out because of some other things happening in the community. So we're looking at August 1st now. So all of the other elements are the same, we're just looking at a date change.
I thought, oh, never mind.
You got a question on the date, or what?
No,
It was okay once, should be okay again.
yeah, no, I just, I looked at, I saw a different date, but it is August 1. Okay, I saw a different date. I'm good.
All right. Somebody want to approve that date?
I'll make the motion that we change the date to August 1st.
I'll second.
Now further discussion. Basically got the reasoning. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Twisted?
Right.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd like to reevaluate my original position.
Number 4, review information related to the Witch's Hat Fury for a feast. Or is that furry? Furry for a feast.
I
It's
believe it's Fury for a Feast.
Fast and Furious Feast. All right.
Um,
Event. Put on by the Witch's Hat Brewery.
Most of this I will turn over to Chief Collins. You do have in front of you a string of emails. I spoke to Councilman Kivel this afternoon. He had several questions for me, and I do apologize. I didn't think to pass on to you the emails that the chief and I had passed with several questions that I had last week that Councilman Kivel came to me with this afternoon. So I'm hoping that email answers maybe some questions that you have about this event that Chief Collins has already provided answers for. If not, we do have a representative from the Witch's Hat here to answer questions, and Chief Collins is here as well to speak about the event.
Well, I've got some questions. I love the business. I mean, I couldn't be more delighted that they're successful and the way things are going for them. This site has just inherently presents a great deal of logistic problems with parking, and for this event in particular. First, Mike, did you come to a conclusion on what the capacity of the lot will be? Because that wasn't in there.
Yes, we've worked with them. I don't recall off the top of my head, but because there was kind of some fluid natures of moving things. The issue that we have to look at is we're really only looking at it from a square footage and how many people can they have in, which is really separate from any concerns of parking or other type issues.
Yeah,
So I just
right.
kind of want that.
But it does lend itself to how many people are going to need to find a home for their cars and stuff.
Correct.
And cross the street, so.
Yeah, and I apologize, I don't have that number off the top
I
of my
mean, a
head.
thumbnail is all I'm looking for.
I want to say it was at least 1,000.
Yeah, okay.
And the reason for that is because they really don't have a lot of, it's just pretty much an open lot. And so that really allows them to increase their numbers when you have tents or other structures, and that drives the numbers down. So,
And it is pretty open, you're right.
yeah, so, and that was part of what we worked with them on, is that basically the fewer tents, the more number you could have. But I know it was at least 1,000 is what was on there. The other part of this too, just kind of on a good faith effort, they had done this at their previous site, I want to say 2 or 3 other times, and been excellent to work with. So just
Oh, yeah.
as a aside.
No question about
So-
that, but this holds a host of complications that didn't
Yep.
exist at the old site, that's all.
Yep.
Okay, now to our next expert, Tim. I can't imagine that we aren't potentially bringing some potential liability to ourselves for the notion of having an event or approving an event that doesn't have a safe passage from one side of the street to the other. The idea that we're going to end up having people scurrying across a 35-mile-an-hour thoroughfare without an active or like a crossing guard, or there's certainly no real crosswalk there. It's simply you're going to cross the street at the intersection. Does that hold us to any kind of threshold of exposure?
Well, I might need more detail. It looks like there is a proposed parking plan with routes. I'm not sure whether the
Well, there's
proposed
parking, but
routes.
that doesn't get the parkers to the facility.
Well, but it looks, if I read the drawing correctly, the parking diagram would show some type of crossing Lafayette Street at or near Reynolds Suite Parkway. I don't recall off the top of my head whether those are crosswalk locations or not.
So the rail trail is Okay.
There is one, yes, there is
No,
one.
actually, both of those are real
They're
crosswalks.
crosswalks,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Crosswalks.
just you look at that, who's gonna walk over a half a block down the street?
No,
to-
I mean, it'll be like the
crossing.
schools. We
Yeah.
put a crosswalk in and every kid ignores that and
Yeah.
crosses in midstream, so. Okay, and the other consideration was that, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I apologize real quick, 1,700 was
Okay.
their total number.
Yeah, okay. But, I mean, even if it was 1,000, that's still a great deal of people that'll be moving back and forth across the road at some point in that event. And the other thing was the notion of the shuttle buses, that would be helpful, but there doesn't sound like there's any real official commitment. We're looking into that kind of a thing. It would have been nicer to have something that was, I don't know if it was obligated to them. That would have been my preference, but I would have liked something that was more of a good faith gesture. All right, the site itself, now my only other concern actually is you have all these people that are entering there. The band is playing right at the entrance. Just by the nature of the events, people are going to congregate towards the band often. So that's going to end up becoming a real bottleneck for people getting in and out of there. I'm assuming that there's fencing around the rest of the perimeter, with it being alcohol out in the open?
There will be.
Yeah, okay. So everyone will end up being funneled through that entrance there. With the stage right there, it just seems like a real bottleneck point there. So, that's my only concern about this whole thing. That and our potential exposure legally if something does blow up.
Is there a formula to porta-johns, how many per 100 people or whatever? Especially if
It's not in the
they're,
fire code, but I do know there is a formula for it from Pumpkin Fest experience.
well, I come up with 243 per porta-john. With the beer flowing. I don't know, is that enough? 7 of them? Anybody know?
I have no idea. Have to call John Sanitation. I have a concern with them just being, I mean, there's a lot of tension between this business and Alexander's restaurant with parking. And I just, has there been some good neighbor relationships and you've talked to them about that? Because, yeah, please, because I think they might just lose it that night.
That's a very valid concern, and the plan is to have staff from Witch's Hat monitoring that parking lot to keep people out of it at all times, because we understand like you say, it's a little tenuous at the moment. So yeah, the plan is to have staff there in the parking lot, keeping people out of it and making them go park at the designated parking area.
Okay. And can you just put your name for the record?
I'm sorry, yeah, Jeremy Witcher, I'm the brewery representative at
Okay.
Witch's Hat.
Will you have staff to try to deter people from crossing right at Dorothy?
Yes, there'll be staff guiding
Be
people down the rail trail to the
Perfect.
actual crosswalk, because, yeah, we don't want people
That would
even.
be great then.
We're going to deter people from parking down Dorothy by the actual depot and by the ball fields. So we're going to deter people away from that. We've got areas set up that we're going to make sure that we promote and tell people to use.
Fantastic.
Are you going to have maybe signs?
Yes.
Oh,
And then on social media, we'll be promoting it that way as well. Because that's, a lot of the attendees we found are very tuned into the social media side of it, so we'll use that to communicate.
Yeah, well, that's ideal, yeah.
I can walk.
Yeah, I think we could all walk.
We can all walk from where we live.
Now, is there still a chance that you're going to pursue the shuttles?
Yes, we're still
Okay.
pursuing it, yes,
And
for sure.
they'll be boarded and picked up at like the car wash?
Yeah, we've already been in discussions, with the
Yeah.
car wash, so we're trying to get an arrangement
I
set up
thought
with
that
them.
driveway wouldn't work out, you know, you'd be choking off traffic and things, so, yeah, wonderful.
Also, I had another question. I just saw this on the emails that just got put in front of me.
Yes.
Okay, I was just reading those, and it says that the major difference is the residential sleeping aspect from the other event. Are we not considering the residential sleeping aspect of the mobile home facility?
Two things, their music, the Witch's Hat Brewing music will end by 10.
Well,
And-
I can't hear that.
And by 10.
And by
End
It
by
will
10.
end
Oh,
by
okay.
10.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
And I think that's part of the reason that they put their band right out by Pontiac Trail to increase the distance between the band and any trailers that might be occupied. And I'm not sure how many of the trailers that border their area are actually occupied.
Well, that would help, but I mean, actually, that's counterproductive if there are people living there. I mean, you're firing the sound right at them rather than away from them then. If the stage was at the other end firing away, it wouldn't present anywhere near the same noise hazard, so,
And then you wouldn't have the bottleneck that you were
Yeah,
concerned
right.
about too.
yeah. Well,
Then you
yeah.
put the crackers up front.
Well, personally, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's a first time
Well,
event.
with those answers, I am, yeah.
No, I mean, it's a first time event. Obviously, if things don't work out, then, you know, when they come back next year, then we might have different things to say, but, I mean.
That's
yeah.
exactly correct. I mean, it's an iterative process that's going to take, you know, the same with our previous ones. You know, the first year we did it, there was things we said, well, you know, we can do this better and fix it, and, you know, improvements were made. And I think it's going to be expected this time. We'll take what we've learned from the previous event, what we've done well, what didn't work quite so well, and build that into how we kind of design this setup this year as well.
I was just concerned about people getting
Oh,
hurt,
no,
that's all,
that's
yeah.
a valid concern. Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to say, yeah, I've attended the Fury for Feast the past years, and I thought it was a good event. I thought one thing particularly impressed me was the traffic foot flow of how they were letting people in as they were coming out. So there was a good coordination of just making sure capacity was not overreached. Also, a lot of the proceeds do go to charity. So I felt that, or correct me, is it all the proceeds or?
Yeah, and this is actually Gleaners Food Bank's largest fundraiser of the entire summer is the Fury for a
Right.
Feast event.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And one thing, other thing that just came to my mind was, when I attended in past years, was speaking to a lot of people, and a lot of people came from outside of South Lyon, which is
correct.
excellent for a community, so it's really bringing people in, so
Yeah,
I
there's
think
people
it's
from
good.
out of state who attend, who come all the way
Can
from out
you,
of state.
can you tell me, Gleaners Food Bank, are they involved with Active Faith?
I believe they're separate from it, but you know, we've kind of done some
They
research.
don't, what do they do in South Lyon?
Well, that's a valid question that I don't have an answer for, but I know that Aaron, the co-owner, has thoroughly researched all of them and tries to choose charities where there's very little money going into administration and more of the money going towards the people that actually need it. So that's a big reason why we choose Gleaners as well, and they're always very enthusiastic about helping us. We've contacted some other ones
Oh, yeah, I can see why.
whose, just the interest level wasn't really there.
I think Active Faith is very good about their administrative costs too, but Gleaners has a very large footprint of exposure to helping people, so
Cleaners is a very reputable
absolutely
charity.
a long-standing firm, yeah.
It is.
Well, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the plan for the Fury of the Feast 2015.
Mr. Mayor,
This is not an action item, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
No, Mike.
This is informational only?
Yeah.
that was going to be my comment. This was put in for information
Yeah,
only.
okay.
The city ordinance would require a permit if this event were held on public property.
Yeah, true.
It's being held on private property, no permits required. I just wanted council to
For
be aware.
road closure or something, yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, we appreciate your support, thank you.
Okay, I unofficially approve it.
All right, number 5, I'm going to consider agreement for tax collection for the South Line schools, and I basically could say what it is, but I'm going to throw it to Lisa, our clerk treasurer.
Okay, as with prior years, we collect taxes for the school, South Lyon schools, and by us doing so, they allow us to keep the interest that is collected throughout the tax season. So they just like to give us this agreement every year for us to sign so that they know we will be collecting their taxes. So nothing's
And
changed.
since we're collecting anyways, yeah, okay.
I move to approve the agreement between the City of South Lyon and the South Lyon Community Schools for 2015 tax season as presented.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Managers report.
I've got several things this evening. As you all know, the Memorial Day Parade was held yesterday. I have worked with the Cable Commission. I don't believe they have finished the editing process yet, but there were 2 cameramen that videotaped both the parade and the ceremony, and it should be up on the cable channel sometime this week for all the residents of the community to enjoy from multiple views. So that worked out very well. I wanted to point that out because I know it said in the Cable Commission minutes that they were having trouble finding someone to videotape it, so I wanted to point that out. The deadline for RSVPing for Dr. Pearson's retirement celebration is this week, so I wanted to remind the council, you should have gotten that invitation with your last packet. If you don't have one, I've got a couple of extras if you're interested in attending. Tomorrow evening, the high school bands and a cappella choirs are doing Jazz in the Park at the gazebo in, is it the Village or is it McCaddy Park?
The Village.
The Village, that's what I thought. At 7 o'clock for anybody in the community that is interested attending. And then our Summer Concert in the Park series starts on June 5th. And our movie series starts on June 13th. Lastly, I wanted to let the council know that the RFP for IT services has been sent out. We sent directly to 4 companies and have placed it on the city's website. So if there are any other companies that are interested in submitting proposals, that is available online. And it is available in mid-June for the council to review and make a decision before the end of the month for the new fiscal year. And that's all I have this evening.
Okay. Glenn.
Okay. The Spruce Up from May 16th was a lot of fun. Had good times, got stuff accomplished, and I just wanted to extend my thanks to everybody that participated, in particular people that don't live in the city, for them to avail themselves of that day to help us out is really quite a benefit to us, and I appreciate that. Many people already recognize that the elevator was destroyed today, and it's just unfortunate that the community that financially supported that thing through its history, which was built in 1894, we're just getting kind of scraps from the dismantle of that. And I'm glad that the museum in Leonard will be, receiving some of the assets that had been saved, some timbers and some of the mechanism in there and that. But it just seemed kind of odd that they wouldn't have tried to reach out to us a little bit more strongly. But it sure has a different view when you go by that intersection now. And on May 15th, DPW was tasked with going down to 9 Mile and Pontiac Trail to groom the northeast intersection, the little bit of dirt there around the sidewalks and that. And I just thought, after we had our safe routes to schools discussion, I mean, it was pretty unambiguous that we didn't want our assets being applied to jurisdictions that we didn't have control over. And I just thought that that was kind of really tone deaf to have that take place. They did reach out to both the county, or the road commission, I should say, and Lyon Township. I don't know if the schools had been contacted, but the schools have maintenance crews. But irrespective, there's hundreds of worthy projects that we could end up lending assistance to using our tax dollars to provide assets and benefits to people outside of our jurisdiction. It simply isn't appropriate. So when we do that type of activity, it's sanctioned by council prior to its being conducted. You know, haven and things of that nature. So I was really kind of surprised and disappointed by that whole thing. And I don't blame DPW for that. You know, they were doing what they were asked to do, but I just didn't care for that kind of activity.
Can I respond to that, Councilman?
Pardon me?
Can I respond?
Yeah.
Because of your concerns about that, I took it to heart and asked the DPW to get me the full cost of that, and I reimbursed the city for all of those costs.
Well, I think that that's nice. Don't get me wrong. I hope that that just doesn't reoccur or
No, it will
something of
not
that same
reoccur.
nature, yeah. So, well, I think that's a great step in the right direction. That's all I had, thank you.
Okay, Aaron.
Yes, at the last meeting, I asked about the Providence's lot, and I haven't heard anything back, except I got a little brief blip of it in the, your letter that you send out, that you're checking into it. Since then, well, the house next door is not being mowed either. They are both significantly long, as far as we may need to call Farmer Kenny in.
A bailer.
They are really long. And I heard, and again, this is me, I mean, I requested some of it being looked into 2 weeks ago, and since then I have heard nothing except on my own. I think there may be a foreclosure involved.
I do know that Tom Lyon has gone over and attempted to address it. I will speak to him again tomorrow and get further information and send that out to all of the council.
Because if there's a foreclosure involved, I mean, we need to know about that as well. And that's something I'm finding out even after I asked.
At least there's still a bank attached to it that has responsibility for it.
Yes,
So, yeah,
absolutely,
right.
and it shouldn't take 2 weeks. I mean, there's people who spray in that neighborhood for weeds, and it just really doesn't matter anymore, because we had a good wind yesterday, and the dandelions are in everybody's lawn now. You know, I mean, it is 18 inches tall at least. It's significantly long.
That same circumstance exists down by Knowles too, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Joe?
Just want to remind everybody that Relay for Life is this Saturday with the opening ceremony at 10 a.m. And then it goes all day, for 24 hours, and then the luminary ceremony is at 10 p.m. And for anybody who has not seen it, it's very, very moving to see so many people come together and all the lights lit up around the track. So I just would highly encourage everybody to participate. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Harvey?
Thank you. I also wanted to express my thanks to staff and residents who helped with the city cleanup. That was a really good day, and a lot of good work got done, and a lot of our workers were out there, our staff were out there working too, and we appreciate that. Last Thursday and for a couple hours on Friday morning, the American Legion sold poppies, and I want to thank the community for the generosity. We sold our 3,000 poppies in record time, and while not all the numbers are in yet, it looks like we're going to have a record take from that, and all of that goes to veterans and their families. So thank you very much, and thanks for putting up with us when we were out in the street.
You know what, Harvey? I noticed that there was some businesses that let them in front of
Yes.
their businesses this year. I hadn't noticed that in previous years. I didn't know if it was done before, but that was nice because they make me a little nervous in the road.
Yeah.
You know, and it was nice to see some of the businesses. So, you know, thank the businesses.
Yeah, our
for
poppy
allowing that to-
manager goes out and actually solicits places from the businesses, and some that normally wouldn't allow us to do it.
Yeah, I didn't notice that before, but I noticed it in a couple places this year. I thought
Yeah.
that was good because they do make me a little nervous in the road.
And so thank you for that.
It's very
And
threatening.
yesterday's Memorial Day Parade went off without a hitch, and it was a wonderful parade, good ceremony. And it's always amazing to see the people, the watchers, and the way they treat everyone. So thanks to the community for that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Mike?
I think everything has been said, so I'm good.
Yeah, I was going to say, they've touched on pretty much what I was going to do. I want to thank Dana Johnson for organizing the 36th parade she's done for Memorial Day. I did put a phone call into Channel 2 last night after they proclaimed that Dearborn's Memorial Day Parade is the longest running parade in the state, and they are off by some 37 years, because South Lyon's been doing it for 128 years. And I did want to mention the relay. Again, that's always a good cause, and I think Joe hit on it. Just stop by and walk the route around the track a couple times. There's booths set up. It's fundraising going on all along, and be it foods or what have you. It's just it touches you to see the people who care. I'm going to put in 24 hours out there.
There's a lot of camaraderie in that
Yeah.
group, too.
Yeah.
Right.
A very important cause. And I want to thank our cemetery crew again for having the cemetery top-notch shape for the ceremonies. Well attended. Lots of kids. It was terrific. It was so cool to see all the kids. It gives you hope, you know. And the DPW included on that cleanup and so forth. Bob, you guys, people don't have a clue of the little things that get done that you guys do. And what I find with a lot of our workers, you're driving along, that you don't see them leaning on shovels. They're working. They're doing their things. They're sweeping. They're cutting, or they're hanging the lamp. Today, the flowers went up, I know. So, I hope the storm withstood the storm all right, the high winds. But
I was grateful for the rain.
yeah. Are you going to be watering again? I mean, do we have the same gal coming back? What's so great about that is her enthusiasm. That's what we got to have. Somebody this is her baby she's taking care of. This is terrific.
And what's nice, I didn't bring her on till mid-July last year. This year, she's there from the beginning, so these flowers aren't gonna have to play catch-up. They'll be watered from the get-go.
Right. And just for the audience sake, her name again?
Lori Stahl.
Stahl,
And
yep.
she was the old prison guard that would bring the lady prisoners to
Oh,
the city. She lived in the city, and when we advertised the position, she came in, and I said, I know you.
He'd
That's
probably
what worked out, yeah.
prefer to be called the former
Yeah.
person.
I did add guard, though.
It's better than former
You didn't
prisoner.
stop at prisoner.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
And with that, I think on the spruce up, I wanted to note too, I helped around the city hall myself. We had people who work in city hall out there. We had people from Salem out there, people from Green Oak Township out there on just this project alone. It was like you said, it's just everybody's, oh yeah.
Great.
And I,
Yep, city
If I may,
attorney.
Ted, we never touched Baker Park on Saturday because the Methodist Church had a service day the following day. And they serviced the entire area in the township and the city, but I had a crew of about 20 people at Baker Park on Sunday who painted the gazebo, mulched the berm, and planted flowers, and it's never looked so nice.
Yeah.
And did they not also work at the village, the Witches Hat Village?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
The nature of where Volunteer Park came from, I mean, it really is, that was the way it's been a long time ago, so.
Okay. With that, we need to call for an adjournment.
I'll move, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Not opposed? That ends our meeting of approximately 40 minutes.
I was watching up here.